Hey y'all, I'm Ebony Todd of Jackson, Todd and Lambert, and today's episode is about nonprofits, 10 steps to forming a nonprofit. The first 5 steps you'll hear from me, Ebony Todd, and the second 5 steps you'll hear from my business partner, Shanae Lambert, in a second video. But before we get started, as always, we have to share our little bit of a disclaimer. Now, these steps that we're going to give you generally are accepted. However, we're not giving legal advice. We want you to speak with a professional and find out what steps are best for you and your entity. However, if you need just a place to start, you can generally start with these 10 steps. All right, I'll start with step 1. Before you form a nonprofit or a church, we want you to start with your bylaws. Go ahead and start generating the governing document. This way you can make sure that there is a meeting of the minds and that you all agree on how you're going to proceed, how you're going to operate before you actually start operating. This is so important when we're dealing with nonprofits and churches in particular, because churches lose membership and nonprofits lose membership as a result of the meeting of the minds not happening beforehand. Making sure that everybody is on the same page and managing expectations is a way to ensure the success of your entity. Okay, that's step number 1, bylaws. Step number 2, I want you to draft your certificate of formation, but actually, I'm going to give you another step before that. Your step number 2 is going to be assign a registered agent. Assign someone who's going to be listed in your certificate of formation before you actually draft the certificate of formation. The registered agent is the individual who, or the company that is responsible for receiving service on your behalf. That can be an individual or a company that is a registered agent company. An individual can be anyone in your entity, a member. It can be your pastor. If you're a church, it can be the secretary. Just like for an LLC or any other company, the registered agent can pretty much be anyone who is willing to accept service. They'll also receive mail on behalf of your company at times, not all the time, but when someone is searching for who they can give paperwork to on behalf of the company, they should be able to go to the Secretary of State's website and find out who the registered agent is and contact that person. Okay, so number 1 was bylaws. Number 2, assign your registered agent. Then number 3 is draft your certificate of formation. I want you to ensure that all of the elements that are required in the certificate of formation are there. You can best do this by hiring an attorney, and as an attorney, I'm always going to tell you to hire an attorney. However, if you don't want to hire an attorney or cannot afford an attorney, you can consider visiting the Secretary of State's office and receiving the information there that is needed and necessary in your certificate of formation. The Secretary of State's office that I'm talking about is Texas Secretary of State's office. As always, our videos are primarily for Texas because we are a Texas-based law firm. So I want to keep that in your mind. All right, so you've drafted your bylaws, you've assigned a registered agent, now you've drafted your certificate of formation. Next, I want you to receive your certificate of filing after it's been after you have filed your certificate of formation. So once you draft your certificate of formation, you're going to file it with the Secretary of State's office. As a result of filing it, you're going to receive a certificate of filing. The reason why I say that is because we don't want to put the cart before the horse. Sometimes people file it and they don't hear anything for a day, a week or so, and then they want to move on to the next steps. And we want you to wait to receive that certificate of filing so you can have that filing number and the date that is on the certificate of filing to help you with step 5. And step 5 is that you can go ahead and apply for your EIN. The application process is very simple. It's very easy. It takes about 5 minutes online. That is done through the IRS as opposed to through Texas. So Texas, our Secretary of State's office is where you file the certificate of formation. You're going to the IRS on irs.gov to get your EIN. And your EIN is a series of numbers that is kind of like a social security number for your business. Now, information on your certificate of filing is used to receive an EIN, and that is why you wait until you receive your certificate of filing. However, I want to make a point very clear that you do not have to incorporate if you are a church to be considered, to be observed as a church, and even to be tax exempt. So you don't have to have a certificate of filing in order to get an EIN as a church. But if you want to be a tax exempt organization as a nonprofit, or even churches all the time, decide to apply for tax exempt status so that they can have the proper paperwork and that they feel more legitimized for their donors, then I want you to go ahead and make sure you have that certificate of filing first. Okay, I'm giving you the first 5 steps, 5, not 10, 5 steps. And I want you to listen to the next episode to find out the next 5 steps from Shania Lambert. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you learned something, or if you felt like this information is useful for someone else, please like and share. We appreciate all of you, even the few followers that we have so far, but we want you to encourage other people to follow us as well. So please like and share this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Y'all have a good one.